Hey guys, welcome to another speed build. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. Today we are building in The Sims 4 and we are building in the neighborhood of San Sequoia, and you can see this specific lot up in the top left hand corner. It is called Parkside Place. This is probably my favorite, if not one of my favorite lots to build on in San Sequoia. I literally build here all the time. I just love the corner lot concept. The only thing about it is I wish it was not horizontal and I wish it was more vertical and it had more of a backyard, but instead you have to kind of fit the house on one side or the other to have a side lot instead of a backyard. Which is kind of interesting, but I did something a little bit differently with this one and I placed it more towards the middle, and so it has a little bit of an area on both sides of the house. One side has the pool and grilling area, and then the other side has a modular playground and is more of like the backyard-esque vibe. And so yeah, and then it leads off to the side corner, because if it's a side lot, you know I have to have a side gate. It just makes sense. But I hope you enjoyed today's build. Of course, if you do, please don't forget to leave a like and also subscribe if you have not already, and share this video with your friends if they are simmers as well. And don't forget to comment down below what your favorite part of today's build is. This build is available on the EA gallery. My gallery ID is exactly like my YouTube name, so it's The Clumsy Simmer. And I am pretty sure it's no spaces, but if it doesn't come up, then add the spaces. Sorry. I can never remember if there's spaces or not. But thank you all so much for all of the support, and I really hope you enjoy the speed build. So we have a great start on the outside of our build, and I have a little bit of a wraparound porch, and it is just on the front part of the house though. I love to do this on corner lots. I think it makes a lot of sense for corner lots because, you know, it's kind of in the same shape as the corner lot itself, and I like to try to do it on the side that has the corner, if that makes sense. I feel like it goes hand in hand with each other and looks really, really nice. And I can imagine just unwinding after a long day at work, sitting on the front porch, watching your kids play basketball or ride bikes, or even play hopscotch on the front sidewalk, and just relaxing and trying to unwind after a long day at work. Plus, they make such a cute addition to a house. I just think they look so nice. Even if it's not a wraparound porch, just any sort of front porch on a house, I absolutely love. In The Sims and in real life too. My childhood home always had a front porch and a back porch. But the front porch, it was always just so much fun sitting out front, to be honest. My new house doesn't have one, unfortunately, but at least we have a back porch. A back porch or a front porch is better than no porch, you know what I mean? But yeah, it's always so much fun just sitting out front with either, you know, a family member or friends and just talking about anything, maybe gossiping every once in a while. To be totally honest, some of the best gossip happens outside on a porch anyways, you know? There's something about being outside in the fresh air, just sitting there relaxing, that just brings it out. But anyways, some of the other features we have on this house is a driveway, and usually if I do a driveway, I add a garage, and then I have the driveway leading up to the garage, but I really wanted to do something different this time, because not every house in real life has a garage, but most of them have driveways, right? So I really wanted to recreate that sort of look where a house has a driveway but not necessarily the garage. So we have just a driveway there on the left side. Plus, this being a corner lot and being horizontal, it just was the perfect shape to be able to have a longer front area, if that makes sense, which then made it easier to put a driveway without a garage and having plenty of space to do so. And I made it long enough to be able to put 2 cars there and also be able to put a basketball hoop there as well at the very end of the driveway, and then it leads straight to the back gate area. And I absolutely love the look of having a driveway lead straight to the back fence like I did here. I just think it looks super realistic and super nice too. Very cohesive. Like it looks like it was really planned very nicely, if I do say so myself. And then from the gates, it leads to the pool area in the backyard. And right now, it might look very long and skinny, and that's because it is. But trust me, by the end of the build, by the time I'm done putting everything in, it really makes a lot of sense and it looks really, really nice by the end of it. I'm very happy with the outcome. Looks very unique too, like obviously not something I do all the time, which is always fun to try to change up the look a little bit. Also, the floor plan, I did something a little bit different with this staircase in this one, which I'll talk a little bit more about here in just a moment once we get inside and start doing the floor plan. But I do think it turned out really interesting, the layout, especially in the beginning where you first walk in the front door. Oh, well, while we're on the subject, perfect timing. We ended up going to the floor plan a little bit sooner than I originally had thought. So I guess it's not that different than I normally do, but I did shape it a little bit differently. I don't really know how you would explain the shape of that staircase. Not necessarily an L-shaped, but I have it on a corner, I guess. And so when you first walk in the front door, you have the staircase, which that part's not very different, but then I have it cornered and I end up putting the railing in, and the way that it looks just looks really cool to me. And then I have a wall on the other side to create a sort of foyer, and then it leads to the dining room, which is all open, by the way. The dining room, kitchen, and foyer is pretty open. And then I have an archway leading to the living room. And once I put the flooring in, you'll really be able to see how unique it actually looks. And I just think it turned out really, really nicely and really fits this style of house very well. But it almost looks like the staircase cuts into the room next to it, even though it doesn't, but it's just not straight like I usually do it and off to one side. I like how I have it on a curve. I just think it looks really, really nice that way. And then another wall on the edge where you can see part of the staircase, the shorter part, right when you first walk on the staircase, but other than that, there's a wall surrounding the whole thing, so you can't really see it, but at the same time you can. I don't know. I'm probably making it harder than it needs to be, but see how cool it looks now that I have the railing on and the flooring down? I just think it looks super nice. And I'm just now noticing that it looks so good. It makes so much sense because this is a corner house lot and it's like everything has a sort of corner to it. I really didn't realize that as I was building, but now seeing it back, I realized that, which I really love. I think it makes so much sense. But anyways, this dining room I think looks really good. I love how many windows are in here. I think it just brightens up the room really, really well. And this was actually the first build I did when I purchased that maker's pack that has that dining room stuff. And so I had so much fun playing around with it in this build. These lamps are also from that same kit from the dining room one, if I'm not mistaken. And that dining table and chair set, I am absolutely in love with. It's like the most realistic one we have in the game, in my opinion. I think it looks so good. I love that plant that comes with it as well. And I don't usually do different tones of wood like I do here, but once I placed the high chair down and the hutch, none of the woods really matched that well. And so changing the table to have the darker wood and the chairs the lighter wood brought it all together. And this is the one time I did the two different woods, and I think it goes together really, really nicely. It ties the whole room together really nicely. I usually can't stand the look of two different woods put together, like a light wood with a dark wood drives me absolutely insane. It gives it just such a old gloomy look. It definitely reminds me of the 70s because that was like huge back in the 70s, which is fine if you like that style, but it's just not my cup of tea. I like using one or the other, but like I said, in this case, it doesn't look too bad, probably because it's both dark wood, just one has more of a red hue to it, an undertone to it, and then the other one just is like dark brown. So either way, they're both dark and not like super contradicting of each other with the light and the dark. But anyways, we're just finishing up the floor plan super quickly. This ended up being a 3-bedroom and 3-bathroom house. but one of the bathrooms is really just a half bath, so I guess you can barely count that as a bathroom, but I figured I would include it in the count anyways. The half bathroom is downstairs because that's all I could fit down there, and I really feel like each house has to have a bathroom downstairs, whether it's just a half bath or a full bath. I cannot stand not having a toilet for your Sims to go to downstairs. It just is not very realistic to me. Then all of your guests have to go upstairs to use the restroom, which does not make sense whatsoever. And then the other two full baths are upstairs. One is tied to the master bedroom, and then the other one is just for the other people to use in the house, like the kids, for instance. And then the master and one of the spares is upstairs, and then the other spare is downstairs right off of the living room where you see right there, which I don't love to do. I usually try to make the master downstairs, but sometimes the floor plan just doesn't allow that, and this was one of those times. I also found this shape of living room kind of hard to furnish, so I do end up extending that back wall right there just a tad little bit, and then I put another piece of roof on top. It's interesting to look at, to be honest, from the outside, but it's in the back, so it's fine. I definitely needed that extra space right there to make the living room look better, or else it just looked so weird the way that it was shaped. So I definitely don't regret doing that. There's so much more space in here now. I was also able to fit one of those singular chairs on like a corner, which how many times am I gonna say corner in this build, guys? I'm sorry if it's getting annoying, but it is what it is. There's corners all around this build, and I really didn't do that purposely. But like I said, it kind of makes sense. So this flooring that I decided to use in this build, I don't think I have ever used before. If I have, it's only been a couple of times. If I'm not mistaken, that is the one that is from Businesses and Hobbies, and I'm not a huge fan of the wood flooring that is like super big like this. I like the smaller wood flooring the best, but it is nice to switch it up a little bit, and I do think it does look really nice in this build, especially since I have a couple of different color woods going on in the dining room specifically. The flooring looks like it also has a couple of different colors. There's like a darker and a lighter wood in there. It's kind of red tint too. I really think the color is super nice, and it matches this coffee table perfectly in the living room, doesn't it? Like, I feel like they were made to go together. And I'm using this couch set from one of the new maker kits. I absolutely love it. That couch set is the whole reason why I bought that specific maker's kit, and I can't remember what it's called. It's the one that like is for an at-home library sort of thing, like not the book nook, because that is a regular kit, but there's a maker kit that is kind of the same vibe, and that is where those couches are from. But how cute are these couches? Literally the only reason why I purchased that whole kit. Which sounds crazy, but look at how cute the pillows are. That shape of couch is perfect. That is literally the shape of couch that I have been wanting in this game, and the fact that it's a complete set was like, that's what made it a must-have for me, the complete set, because I say it all the time, this game's lacking of the complete set. And I had someone comment on one of my videos, which makes a lot of sense, don't get me wrong, and they said that the reason why they don't include a whole set of couches is because they only have like a limited number of items to put in each pack, and they want to make as many different items as possible, so I totally get that, but I feel like they keep adding the same thing in every single pack. And I don't have any examples off the top of my head, but there's some packs that have like repetitive items that we totally could have at least had a 3-seater sofa and a love seat. We don't really have to have a single chair, but at least those two I feel like is like a must-have, because when you have only a love seat specifically, that's hard to use. Like, when do you ever have just a love seat, unless it's like a tiny house or you have it in a bedroom or something, or like in a hallway, a random hallway somewhere? I don't know. That's my personal opinion though. I'd rather have that than one of the 1,000 clutter items we have in this game, you know? It's really nice having a lot of clutter items, but it gets to a point where I spend so much time looking for clutter items that takes the majority of the time when it comes to building. I cut a lot of it out, but I will sit there and scroll and scroll and scroll through the clutter items looking for different stuff. I have built enough at this point where I pretty much can think of what I want and I kind of know the area, but there's so much that there is some that I'm like, oh, I didn't know this item existed, which I guess is nice, but like I said, it just takes forever to go through the clutter items sometimes. But at this point, we have the living room done, obviously the dining room, and I just finished the foyer as well. I have a little bit of like a hall table there, which I think is technically a dresser, but I used it as a hall table, and I have a mirror on top, and on the other side I have that wall hanging thing where it has like mail and keys, and I really love to put those by the front doors. Gives it kind of a realistic touch. And above it I put the security alarm. On the corner of the staircase, that wall, I put a piece of wall decor. It's like a shelf with some pictures on it. Your Sims are able to go on the staircase still, by the way. I wasn't really sure when I placed it in game as I was building if your Sims would be able to use the staircase, because sometimes it's kind of finicky putting stuff right there. And it was, like I said, on a shelf, so it kind of stuck out a little bit, but yeah. Just want to let you guys know that your Sims are able to walk up the staircase. I always get so excited when there's something that I'm not sure will work and it actually works in game. And it's like a breath of fresh air because then you don't have to change it, you know? But we are now working in the kitchen and I'm just adding some different clutter items. I really love to make kitchens look realistic in The Sims. The microwave, I have a cutting board with the bread on top of it, and the bread has like a towel over it, and it looks like it's freshly baked and they're cooling it. I'm not really sure what that does, but I think it's super cute, and I absolutely love that touch that it's on the microwave. Most of the time, if you have a microwave on your counter, you have stuff on top of it. Let's be honest here. It's a great place to store stuff. Obviously, if you have it above the oven, you're not able to do that, but if it's on the counter, then you are, and it's great. I wish we were able to add it above the oven in The Sims. That is like a huge thing I think about a lot of the time, and I really wish you're able to do that, but you're not. Obviously, there's tricks you can do to make it have that look, but I'm too lazy to do that. And I think you have to have the tool mod, and I just don't have it downloaded. But I also added some stuff from the kitchen clutter kit in the kitchen, like I usually do. I love that kit. I use it all the time, and I don't regret it, to be honest. It just has such good realistic items, and I love the fridge that comes with it too. I use that all the time. And I don't always use the separate stove and oven from Dream Home Decorator, but I did do that in this build, and I love doing it on islands specifically. If I have a kitchen island and I don't have the sink there, then I like to put the stovetop there, and it gives it a really fancy look. And then next to it, I put some clutter items. I put like a microwave, I put a paper towel holder, I added a utensil holder, and I added this thing from For Rent that's like a basket and it has like a piece of lettuce draped on the side. I just think it looks super cool. I like it. Looks like you're ready to put like some salad in there or something. But we are now working on the master bedroom, and this bedroom set is also from one of the maker's kits. I just couldn't help myself. Once I seen building items that I really liked, I had to purchase them. I'm not gonna make a habit out of using them in every build though. I just had to get it out of my system a couple of times. I think this might be my last build. Don't take my word for it, but I think this might be my last build for a little bit at least, where I use a lot of these makers kits. I'm, like I said, not gonna make a habit out of it. I know not a lot of people purchase them, and for good reason. I mean, at this point, we're tired of the kits. I get it, but if I see something I like, what can I say? I gotta get it. especially when it comes to building items. I can usually refrain from the create a sim items though. I have a weakness for the build items. I always love using new stuff in builds. The curtains in the master are from movie hangout stuff, and I absolutely love these curtains. I don't use them that often. I think I just recently used them in a teen's room, but I don't use them as often as I should. I absolutely love the way that they look, especially this color paired with the other colors in the bed and the rug and the woods in the master bedroom. I just think they tie really good together. And I have the back balcony exclusive to the master bedroom. I thought that was a really nice touch, and that's how the floor plan laid out. Honestly, I didn't really have any other choice, but I always love making the master bedroom a little bit more unique than all of the other rooms. Not only does it have its own bathroom, but also its own balcony, so it really is like obvious that's the master, and it's really nice for the parents to have their own personal space on the back balcony, and they can just go out there and relax if they're tired of their kids, basically. And I only end up putting a couple of chairs out there. I can't remember if it's a little love seat or if it's two individual chairs. I don't do anything crazy out there. And then the parents have their own computer in their room, and I put a second computer in the hallway right where the staircase is. There's that little nook area that's perfect for a computer desk, and so that's what I end up doing there. And that's also where I end up putting the litter box for the cat that lives in this house. I literally had nowhere else to put it, and I always forget to do the litter box until the very last moment, and so I have to find a spot to squeeze it in. We just got the kids' room done. I end up putting the infant downstairs, which I also don't love doing that, but that's just what happened. I ended up putting the kid upstairs. This bedroom was a little bit bigger than the one downstairs, so it made sense for the kid to have this one. And I don't always do a gender neutral bedroom for a kid like this. I usually do it more for like a boy or a girl, but it was pretty fun doing a gender neutral and looks really nice. And I love that bed from Dream Home Decorator. I actually never use it, like, ever. I think this might be one of the first times I've actually used it in a build, but it's so cute and perfect for like either gender. We have a mental table in there. I was able to fit a creativity table, and then we have a big stuffed animal for them to practice their social skill, and just a couple of different decor pieces on the wall. Oh, I also included a little imaginary friend doll too, so that they can befriend that. And I don't always use that one I used here, but it was nice to use it. It kind of gives me the creeps, I'm not gonna lie. It's a little bit creepy, that one, but it was nice to change it up. I usually only do the goofball one that's like orange and blue, or I do the cute unicorn one. I don't really do the others that often. If I do choose one of the others, then I do the like the brown and green one. This is like the creativity one that looks evil to me, and so I don't use it often, but I did here. And I'm pretty sure you can even set it as evil, if I'm not mistaken, which would be perfect for that one. But we are working on the infant's room now downstairs, and I have a crib. I end up putting a changing table in here and also a toy box with some blocks, and that is about it. I think I wasn't able to fit too much in here, but enough so that your infant had plenty of stuff to do. There isn't much the infant can do anyways, if we're being totally honest, so whatever it could do, I added in here. And then I also included a little grabby mat in the living room so that you can just stick your infant in there, and then they can't walk around or scoot around or crawl around. That's really nice, but not very realistic. If a baby is able to crawl, then you know they're not just staying in that spot the whole time. But I usually run out of space to fit a grabby mat in the living room if I don't think about it before I start decorating it. So I was really happy when there was more than enough space. Like I said earlier, I really don't regret expanding the living room. And it also made it easier to landscape that little area. I was indecisive on how I wanted to landscape that little small square of grass that was there before I expanded the living room. So it was kind of a win-win situation. the living room got bigger and I didn't have to find a way to landscape that little area. But we are completely done with the inside of the house and we are now working on the exterior, finishing up the landscaping and adding all of the outdoor activities. Like I said earlier, I have a basketball hoop at the end of the driveway, and then I have a couple of cars more towards the front of the driveway when you first drive onto it, and then plenty of space for your Sims to play basketball. And then I have the pool straight through that back gate, and I usually do a water slide, but in this build I only had room for a diving board, plus it was a really nice change anyway, since I always do the water slide. It was nice to be able to use the diving board. Both are super fun to play with. I just love the water slide that I can't help myself but use it if there's space. So I was kind of happy that there wasn't space, so it forced me to use the diving board. I also end up putting a couple of pool floaties in there, which I do a lot. I love the pool floaties. I think they just add such a cute touch to the pool. And then your Sims can just like lay on them, take a nap, or get a tan, or a sunburn if you leave them for too long and you forget to put sunscreen on them. But either way, it's super fun to see them just chilling on the pool floaty and making waves or whatever. Then next to the pool area, I have an umbrella and chair set. That is from Perfect Patio Stuff. And I have a little outdoor grill right next to it. I said outdoor grill like they're not always outdoor, but like one of those grills that you usually find in camping areas. I don't always use them on my house builds, but I did here and it was really fun because I don't ever use it, but I thought it was cool to use here. Right now on the back porch, I do have a little lounging area, but I end up changing that and I put a cat tree there instead here in just a moment because I realized, oh crap, I planned for them to have some sort of pet and I'm gonna do a cat. Obviously they can have a dog too, but I just decorated for a cat. So there's the litter box upstairs, like I said earlier, in the hallway, right by everybody to pass. And then out here I put a cat tree and I also put a couple of toys right by this plant too. Oh, and I remembered to put a little scratching post inside too. And yes, your Sims can use the sliding glass door. If there's something in front of the non-openable side of the sliding glass door, then your Sims are able to use it. But if there's something in front of the opening side, then they cannot. And then over on this side, this is the side that is more of the backyard area. We have a couple of gardening boxes as well as a couple of kayaks, and I have one of those standalone slides and some monkey bars. I usually do a modular playground, and I think I said a modular playground earlier, but I lied accidentally. But I ended up doing a standalone slide, which is really fun to change it up a little bit. I really like the way that the standalone slide looks, and I love the fact that there is a tarnished swatch. I didn't use the tarnished swatch for this build, but that is a really cute touch that would be so fun to use like at a park or something, especially a small little neighborhood park would be so fun to use that tarnished slide. But yeah, so at this point, we are just adding the last minute landscaping, which I really love the way the landscaping turned out for this build. It's not too much, but at the same time, it's really nicely detailed and placed. It's not too much going on. Obviously, there is kind of a lot going on, but it doesn't seem like too much because there's enough grassy area. So I have the hedgerow bushes all around the outside of the house. I have these super big circular bushes from Debug. Those are my favorite ones from Debug. And then I have the hydrangeas from Royalty and Legacy paired with the big yellow flowers from Base Game, like the super circular bushy ones. Oh, and then in the back I have the hedgerow version of those circular yellow flower bushes. And I am redrawing the little pathway I have leading from the back patio to the sidewalk on the right side of the house where that side gate is. And I have a layer of the more spread out gravel, and then on top of that I do the thicker gravel. I like the way that looks. it looks like the gravel is not stuck in one place and it's kind of starting to spread out over time. I feel like it gives it more of a realistic look that way. And I do the same thing on the edge of the back patio. I used the flooring that is like different pieces of squared concrete, and in between it has gravel. I like to add the additional gravel on the side because I feel like it makes the flooring blend in a little bit better and looks more realistic. And last but not least, I'm doing the final terrain paint touches using the dirt and just going over all of the landscaping and the gardening area as well as the kids' play area. So we have officially reached the end of today's build. I had so much fun today and I really hope you guys did as well. Of course, if you did, please don't forget to leave a like and also subscribe if you have not already, and comment down below what your favorite part of today's build was, and share this video with your friends if they are simmers as well. Don't forget, this is available to download if you're interested, and you can find my EA gallery ID and a link to my gallery down in the description box below. I hope you all have an amazing day or night wherever you are. Enjoy the screenshots, and I will see you all in the next one very soon. Bye guys!